So he sees the gun. He's just like,
oh yeah, he's gone. He's out of here. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sitting here with my friend Zachary Banks Mickelson. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How about you?
Overworked and underpaid.
Oh, that is a fact.
Yeah, oh yeah. But it's nice out today. It's
I know. We spent 2 weeks in the middle of like below 0 degree weather, and we finally have a weekend where we can go outside with less than a parka.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm not going to, out of spite. I'm going to stay right here in my house. So,
Grown too used to the indoors.
yeah, it's nice. It's nice having all this shelter all the time and a temperature-controlled environment. So, we're going to jump right into it. We have, I feel like one of our strongest bonding things was The Boys, the Amazon original show.
Oh, absolutely. That was like one of the few things in Korea that was like a standout highlight when we were locked on the post.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So at first, I don't know about you, I was a little hesitant to watch it because I had just been like superheroed out. Like, I was just like, yeah, I don't know if I'm really willing to watch another superhero or something. But then, I don't even remember who it was that convinced me. Like, you watch the first episode, if you're not hooked, then something's wrong.
I can totally see that. See, when I first saw the trailers and I saw like a grungy take on superheroes, I was like, you know, I'm interested because, like you, superheroed out, all the superhero movies are the same. And so The Boys looked different enough that I was like, all right, I'll try it. And then I was hooked. One episode, and that was just...
Yeah. So for those of you that haven't watched The Boys, highly recommended. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's kind of a realistic look at superheroes and how like the American military-industrial complex and capitalism kind of turn all these people really sour.
Oh, absolutely. That's
Okay.
exactly what it is. Corporate America getting a hold of superheroes.
Corporate America, that's what I was looking for. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I love Homelander so much.
He's a villain.
Yes.
Disguised as a superhero, and it's
Yes.
perfect.
The actor that plays him.
Perfect. Perfect
They
choice.
could not have cast that any better. And then, but all the other characters were excellently cast as well. You know, me and you spent so long arguing about season 2. Like, who blew his head off? Like,
that was, it was like, I mean, spoilers, but like, watching that episode on like that big ass TV. And,
yeah.
Like, after seeing that was like, we got so hyped after seeing the trailer, like a month before the season came out.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to season 3. I felt like they gave themselves the opportunity to wrap it up at the end of season 2. I feel like they could step away from it and it would be like fondly remembered. But I hope they do season 3.
I want season 3. I want just for some closure on some specific characters.
Yeah. I feel like they ended on a good note. Like they kind of, because all the boys like went back to
their lives,
normal lives, and then
it was a happy ending.
It was a happy ending, but that scares me. Like that's not.
There's no such thing as happy endings.
That's not very Boise. So, but it was vastly. Well, I'm not gonna say vastly, but pretty different than the graphic novel. Did you ever get around to read it?
I did not get the chance to read it. I've been busy with other literature.
Yeah. Well, you gave mine a shot for about 4 pages. And you're like
50
wow.
pages.
Yeah. Okay.
That's more than 4. It's a lot more than 4.
That is a lot more than 4. I'm actually rewriting it right now. So.
You keep telling me this.
I started it.
I look forward to the rewritten version.
Okay. Yeah, I literally sat down on page 1. And I was like, this, the page 1 that I wrote recently versus the page 1 I wrote when I was like 19. I was like, oh man, this is, it's a miracle. This was even like.
I just find it fantastic that you had such a good self-insert character into your own book.
I tried really hard not to do that because I don't think my personality would like roll well into a fictional character.
I agree.
Because I would just tap out. I'd be like, yeah, I'm done.
This is zombies everywhere. I'm out.
Yeah. So we were gonna talk about Boy Scouts. Let me talk about Girl Scouts for a second because they're like little Al Qaeda's down there by the commissary.
Oh, I just bought a box from the shopette while I was there just now. So.
I don't mind somebody approaching me and being like, "Hey, do you want to buy some Girl Scout cookies?" And I'm like, "No, thank you though. I'm trying to watch my figure. You know, not really my thing." And this little demon's like, "No." And I'm like, "What?" She said, "Do you want to buy Girl Scout cookies?" And I'm like, "Is this extortion? Like, do you want $10 to just leave me alone?" And like her mom was like, "I'm sorry, she's just aggressive." And I'm like, she's like 7. Like,
that's a fantastic image in my mind of 7-year-old just walking up and be like, "You want some cookies?" You're like, "No." And she's like, "I didn't ask."
Yeah, I know. She pulls out a golf club. But then the same little creep came up to me after I left the commissary. Like, I was leaving and she like ran through the bushes. And I'm like, all right, I have a decision. As an adult, do I just take off in a full sprint with my shopping cart, or do I engage this child again?
And you made the correct decision, adult, and pushed away, I hope.
No, she finally like caught up to me, and she like, I guess, recognized me, and she was like, "Oh, it's you." Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a little brat.
Yeah. That's the problem with kids these days. You can't hit them.
No,
You
yeah.
can't hit them.
Well, I just think, like, Girl Scouts have been made with the Girl Scout cookies, though, as a fundraiser. Trying to fundraise as a Boy Scout for 6 years was incredibly hard.
Yeah.
Because we'd have this, like, we never got the popcorn fundraiser either.
Oh, yeah.
See, most Boy Scout troops, I think our best fundraiser was we sold flashlights.
Oh.
Yeah, so we had 2 different flashlights we'd sell. They were, like, waterproof, and you'd shake them to charge them, or they had solar ones. And they were really good flashlights, to be fair. Like, they were tough as nails.
See, I would buy
Yeah, exactly. And, like, you just got to find your right audience for that.
Yeah.
And that was, like, the only fundraiser where we actually made enough to do anything.
Damn. Well, how long were you a Boy Scout?
Well, as long as you can be. Because I definitely didn't finish. I got close. I got the life badge.
Nice.
Like, I was a Life Scout instead of the Eagle Scout. So I never did the Eagle Project.
Gotcha. So, like, how from what, 5, 8, 9 years old till...
Oh, I did do Cub Scouts, and the only thing I remember about Cub Scouts is the Pinewood Derby.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's, like, the most fun thing ever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just... The thing about the Pinewood Derby that I remember is my dad would get insanely competitive, and I just wanted to build a cool-looking car.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let's paint a fireball on it. And my dad's like, but you got to distribute the weight here and graphite the wheel so you go faster. I was like, but my fireball.
Yeah, I know.
And as I have 3 younger brothers, so and as the years progressed, the cars just kept getting more and more tuned. Like, by the time my youngest brother was doing Pinewood Derby, they were going to like district level Pinewood Derby tournaments, and everybody's cars would look exactly the same because everybody was following the same guides.
Just figured out the formula.
Yeah, there was the formula. It was solved at that point.
Yeah. So I was a Boy Scout for a very short time, and actually, hold on, I'm going to tell you the Boy Scouts and then like the alternate to that.
Oh, okay.
So I was a Boy Scout in probably, I think, 3rd, 4th grade, and I got kicked out of my troop because I don't remember exactly the confrontation we had, but like the leader's son was like sitting in a swing, and I sat down next to him in another swing, but then this other kid came up and somehow or another, like, we got in an argument, and the kid like pushed me out of the swing, like onto my back, and then he sat in the swing.
Oh, what?
And I walked around and I punched him right in his face. And, but I was the asshole. Like, I was somehow the bad guy. And
it's all about who you know.
And yeah, this happened to be like the leader's little crotch goblin. But there was like 7 kids that were like, yeah, he just pushed him out of the swing and he punched him. Like, yeah, that sounds fair. What are we arguing about? And anyway, I was asked politely not to come back anymore.
Dang.
Yeah. So.
You know, it's talking about asshole leaders and their kids, because the Mormon Church for a long time was tied so closely to Boy Scouts. In the time I was growing up, they went hand in hand. So once a week on Wednesday nights, we'd all go to the church to do our Boy Scout stuff. Mm-hmm. And so this weird new family had moved in. They were strange. and they our church leadership had assigned the dad of this family to be the leader of the Boy Scouts for however long, and his son was old enough to be there with us, and so we all show up. You always showed up at 6:30 and went till 8 every Wednesday nights. We showed up at 6:30, and he was already there in Boy Scout uniform with his kid, and like had this chalkboard like filled out with stuff. And we all walked in and we're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Because this wasn't normal for us. Like, we would just have fun with Boy Scouts. We weren't trying to speed run or nothing.
Right.
We were just having fun as Boy Scouts. And where we lived, most of these kids were really poor. They couldn't afford to go camping or anything.
Right.
So we couldn't really do a lot. We just had to make do with what we had on hand. And so we get there, and this guy was obviously like trying real hard with Boy Scouts, and we show up, and he's like, "Why aren't you in uniform?" We're like, "It's a Wednesday night. We think this is the normal thing." He's like, "You're supposed to be in uniform." We're like,
"Oh, Jesus."
You know, now that I think about it, being in the military, this guy obviously was an NCO at some point because he was just that asshole.
Yeah.
And he berates us for like 10 minutes, and we're only supposed to be here for an hour and a half. He spends 10 minutes berating us and not being in uniform to a bunch of high schoolers and middle schoolers, and we're all just like, whatever. And so he gets past that, and he's like, all right, fine, who knows the Scout motto? And the whole time he's been yelling at us, his son's just been completely silent because he's super awkward. Mm-hmm. He's sitting there in his chair, and as soon as he asks who knows the Scout motto, faster than you can blink, his son raises his hand from like to his side, max height, in less than a second. We see sonic boom happens here because this kid just breaks the speed of sounding his hand up. Nobody else raises their hand because we're all just like staring at him.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. Anyone else?
Oh, not that kind of prick. Oh.
And we're all like, no. Fine. I can't remember the kid's name anymore, but he's like, say it. And then the kid just like, word for word, nails it. All right. Who knows the Scout oath? Again, another sonic boom, window shatter. The kid's hands up in the air again. We're all back to just gazing in awe at this kid's speed. And again he says, anyone else?
Jesus.
This whole family was like super awkward. Like they were all homeschooled, and there's 4 kids. Mom homeschooled them, the dad worked, and they all had a lisp.
All of them?
Every single member of the family.
Both parents?
I think the dad was like the only one, and even then he still talked to him. Yeah, the whole family.
That's tough.
Yeah, they were just super weird. And so the other part about being Mormon and being in high school is we had something called seminary. It was early morning scripture class.
Yeah.
And so there was like, you did that and then you went to high school. And their daughter, even though she was homeschooled, would come to seminary too. And I had just moved to this town too. But apparently they had a long-standing tradition of doing this game called, I can't remember what it was, but the whole premise of the game was you'd get a name, and everybody would get a name in the class, and you'd have to, at some point in time, hug them and say, I love you most, and they would be out, and then you'd get their name, and you have to continue down the chain until there was one person left standing.
That sounds, we should play that at work.
That would lead to problems. Yeah, which it did in this situation too, because the 2 rules, or there was a few rules, about where you could hug people. You couldn't hug people at church, because that would be too easy. Couldn't hug people at the seminary building, because that also would be too easy. And you couldn't hug people in their own rooms. If you somehow made it into their house, you have to get permission to get into their house, but if they locked themselves in their room, you were out of luck. And so we immediately realized a problem with the participation of a homeschooled child.
Yeah.
They don't go anywhere because they're like the most shut-in people I've ever met. And so we had a friend. I was living with my cousins at the time. We had a friend who was also playing, and I was supposed to get him out, but he's like, "Wait, I know you're supposed to get me out, but I need help because I gotta get her out." And I was like, I don't care about this game, so sure, I'll help you. And so we like drove to their house, and we knock on the door, and we see the front blind like lift up momentarily, see the glint of the glasses on one of the kids.
Yeah.
Blind closes, and then all of a sudden we hear every single window in the house just lock, like across the whole house, and blinds just everywhere.
What?
And we're like, wow.
That's odd.
Yeah, like the place goes like shuts down like Fort Knox, and we're like, okay. And so I was like, all right. I pretended to hug this guy, just out of like where they could see us on the sidewalk.
We're not a threat. I'm gonna hug this guy.
Well, no, because I was supposed to get him out, so I was like getting him out to make it seem like he's not a threat, so he could go back up to the door.
Oh, okay.
No dice. So like, as we start to leave, we hear one of the nasally nose guys, the only son. There's like 3 girls and 1 guy, and he was the one that was in Boy Scouts with us. And we hear him, "Ha, losers!" And that's exactly how he talked.
Wow.
From like one of the windows, and we all made the resolve in that moment to like, we are not leaving until we get this hug.
This is hug warfare right now.
It was hug warfare. And this was also winter time, and so, like, we're still trying to, like, figure this out, and then fucking snowballs come start hailing over the backyard fence at us, and we're like, what the heck are these kids doing? And, like, long story short, there was, like, no way we're getting in here, but the dad found out that we had been there at the house, and we hadn't done anything other than throw a few snowballs back.
Yeah.
It's like, what else were we gonna do? Oh, you know what? Actually, while we were watching the snowball fight, the girl that this kid was supposed to hug was sitting in the window, and they had one of those windows that like kind of juts out from the house, you know?
Oh, like like with the 3 panes.
Exactly, that kind of window. Yeah. And she was sitting there with a cat, petting it like a Bond villain.
Oh my god!
Like the image was just perfect. Well,
what state is this?
This was Oregon.
This is Oregon?
Yeah.
God.
But it was like a backwater town in Oregon.
Some weird people in Oregon.
It's actually the murder capital of Oregon. Highest murder per capita rate.
With these people as you have described to me, I believe it.
Yeah.
I want to kill them.
They were the worst. And so we leave after like maybe 45 minutes. We can't get in there. There's nothing we can do. And I was like, all right, this is lame. We're just not going to do this.
Right.
So like we get home, and then like an hour later, my uncle calls me and my 2 cousins in the room. He's like, what did you do? I'm like, what? What do you need? And he's like, I just got a call from so-and-so that you were at their house trying to break in.
Oh my god.
And we're like, that is not what happened at all.
Yeah.
And like, he knows what's going on, and he knows how weird this guy is, and he's like, all right, whatever, I don't care. I'm going to talk to him and say that you apologize, but apparently they got super, super mad, though. But like, so there was 4 of us total, right? There was me, my 2 cousins, and this other guy. Mm-hmm. He went over to apologize himself and knocked on the door, and he described it in such that he felt like he was going to die when he knocked on the door, and the dad opened the door.
From just his aggression?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Very mad dad. Yeah.
Wasn't that guy, the dad, a part of this game? Like, wasn't he aware of, like, the rules?
No, because his daughter never said anything.
This wasn't a Boy Scout thing?
No, this was like a church thing separate from Boy Scouts.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he didn't go to church enough to know the games.
No,
He's a shitty Christian.
That's also not what happened. It was a seminary thing, so it's just like the high school students.
Oh, okay.
But like, you were supposed to communicate with your family that this was going on. But, like, the daughter just didn't say anything, so, like, the parents didn't know. And when it came out what happened, they were just, instead of being like, oh, okay, that makes sense, like, instead of just having fun with it, they got super mad.
They were even more mad than before?
Yeah. And so, when we went to seminary the next day, the seminary teacher was like, all right, game's over.
Yeah.
And then, like, says, like, but then apparently he's like, we'll do it again next year, but so-and-so's not allowed to participate.
Nice.
Just call her out.
Nice.
Not allowed to participate because you ruined it.
Yeah.
Didn't say it to her face, but...
That's one of those things, like, one person ruin it for everybody.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. I mean, I didn't really care because I was like, this is a dumb game, but whatever.
Yeah.
But that was like a week into the game, too. It was like at this point when this happened, so it was like, the daughter just said nothing.
Oh. I feel like we could do that at work. If we sent out, like, a group chat with all, like, just the cool people.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be fun. You just gotta find them. You can't do it in the car.
Ooh, not at work. Not on the flight line.
Yeah, you just have to go find them. Like, when they're, like, out and about. Because that was the thing about being in high school with all these people. It was like, you still went to school, and you could do it there.
Yeah, that's
you could
true.
do it at school, because you might be able to avoid them at school. It's a big building, but
I would just like be at the gas station all the time, like
just like at the pump
and just come up behind you,
just slowly around the back.
They're gonna catch me on camera and be like, the serial hugger strikes again.
Hugs the same 3 people every 3 weeks.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry, that's unfortunate.
It was fun, just strange folks.
There are weird people. So I went to private school for a couple years, and we didn't have Boy Scouts, but we had the Royal Rangers, and we had our uniform was literally like a red vest that didn't button, and we got little pins and stuff. And it was cool. It wasn't taken super seriously. Like, we just kind of had fun or whatever. And the one time we did anything, we went on a camping fishing trip. And I begged my dad to go. And my dad knew me. He's like, you hate being outside. Like, this is not you. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go. Come on, let's go be men. And he's like, yeah, sure. So we go, and that night we slept in his truck instead of like camping with like all the other people. And my dad was like, yeah, I don't care what you guys are doing. I'm sleeping in my truck. Like, you guys go ahead. And I was like, well, I guess I am also going to sleep in the truck. So I slept in the back seat. He slept in the front seat. But that next morning, I got out of the truck, and I went and I like threw my little bait in the water, and I'm like fishing, and I caught a fish, and I was so proud of myself. And I got it up on the bank, and I was like trying to unhook it, and it like yeeted itself back into the water. So everyone's asleep. My dad's asleep. I have no witnesses, and I'm like, it was like a tournament kind of thing. And I was like, I caught a fish, and they're like, okay, where is it? And I'm like, he ran
He's still gonna hook his mouth.
And they're like, nah, you didn't catch a fish. You suck.
Why would you wake up before everybody else to start fishing? We're trying to get a leg up on the competition there.
I think I was so uncomfortable in the truck. I was like, well.
Oh, like you didn't sleep in the bed?
No, this is like the back seat. Like
yeah, of course you were uncomfortable.
Like an armrest, like with my spine draped over it.
So, you can only get away with that when you're in high school, man. You're back, nah.
I was young. This was before the Boy Scouts, so this was like 6, 7, 8 maybe.
Makes sense. See, my dad, we grew up camping like every year. I mean, I'm pretty sure I first started camping when I was like 2, because that's just like my dad's thing.
Yeah.
And every time we'd go out on like a big camping trip with all the other Boy Scouts, he's always like, only pussies camp in the truck, and he'd bring a tent every time. Only pussies bring a camper.
Man, you are what you eat. All right, that's what you want to call me. That's what
I don't care. But it's funny now because my dad, now he's like 50, he's got a camper trailer.
Oh no!
Exactly, and I'm like,
he is a dentist. He can afford it.
I mean, it's not so much. He probably couldn't. That's probably why I call them pussies, because they could afford it and he couldn't at the time.
Oh yeah,
he was just jealous.
Your defense mechanism, yeah, or his defense mechanism.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are queers.
That's exactly how it was. Every time somebody else had something nice, and when we were camping, he's like, "Never do that, Zack. That's the wimpy way to do it."
Oh my god. Yeah. I would like to be an outdoorsy guy. I have these aspirations of like doing it, and then I just never do.
Yeah, you gotta get it motivated. You gotta make plans.
Yeah. Well, I think about it. There's been times in my life in the military I've been outside, wet, dirty, miserable for like weeks on end.
See, that's the thing about the military.
It ruined it for me.
The military ruins camping because they say you have to be miserable instead of just like, bring the gear you need. We're not gonna bring anything else.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I know.
But when you go camping, you just like you gotta bring the stuff you need, obviously, but like especially in backpacking.
But you can bring also like stuff you enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Like a fishing rod.
Fishing rod. Yeah.
I mean, I don't like fishing, but
or fire. I don't have the patience to fish. Like I get bored.
I'm the same way.
I'm like, okay.
It's fun when you finally catch one, but the rest of the time it's just like,
yeah. The only thing I want to do is go deep sea fishing one time, and that's it. After that, I'll be done.
Yeah, my dad really enjoys doing that. He tried to invite me to Florida once for fishing, and I don't know why I made the decision, but I turned him down. I was like, take somebody who will actually enjoy fishing.
Oh, man.
Like, what kind of idiot are you, man?
Yeah.
Why didn't you take the fishing trip? But,
see, I would have enjoyed more so like being on the boat, being out in the ocean, like soaking up the sun, having some beer, just kind of enjoying that part of it. But like the fishing, I probably would have done like 2 or 3 times. Been like, well, I haven't caught anything. I'm just gonna go drink some more.
See, I get seasick, so.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, only out in the ocean, but like on a lake or something, I'm fine.
Yeah.
So, but no, he won that fishing trip in a raffle. Like, so Ducks Unlimited.
Yeah.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were doing a raffle in our town.
Nice.
And he put in for like a few different things. He put in for the things I remember though because he won them just lucky. He only bought a few tickets for each of these and just got ridiculously lucky. So there was like these 2 incredibly nice 12-gauge shotguns, like just engraved in everything. They were beautiful.
Were they like hunting shotguns or like?
Yeah, that's what you use them for.
Oh,
they were super nice. They were super pretty. And so they pulled that first one. They're like Ryan Mickelson. And me and my dad were like, yeah, like I followed him up there. He takes a gun and he's like, yeah, that's nice. And then we go back and sit down. And they're like, all right, for the next one, Ryan Mickelson. And then we walked up there like, yeah. And everybody else was just like.
He won both shotguns and the fishing trip?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I think he did something.
Yeah. I feel like he did too. Maybe he bought way too many. I mean, like, it was tax deductible charity stuff.
Oh, yeah. If you buy $40,000 in tickets.
I don't think he could. We definitely could afford that, but.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, it's funny. It's like. Growing up, we really couldn't afford like the nicest things. Like we had to, like we could get our needs. Like we had the clothes, the food, the shelter. Obviously, we had everything we needed, and then like a little bit for wants, but like not a lot. We were middle class.
Right.
So, but as soon as my mom divorced my dad, suddenly my dad could afford everything he wanted.
It's weird how that happens.
Just like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And it's like.
Well, it's kind of one of those things like, you know, when you have 2 people dipping into the same cookie jar, like, obviously there's not as much for just what you want to do.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I can kind of see how that's...
Yeah, well, he also did... he also managed to up his income a lot in the a couple years following the divorce.
Mm.
He managed to... make some smart business decisions, but it was just funny because like suddenly it's like married my mom for 20 years, gets the divorce and suddenly he's able to afford whatever he wants. Just like,
yeah, well, yeah, I get that, because he just buys what he wants, you know, and his bills are paid, and like he's the master of his bank account, and like you can look at your bank account, like you right now, you're not married, so you can literally buy whatever you want.
Yeah.
And A, you don't have to justify it. And B, if you know you can afford it, there's nothing stopping you from just being like...
Oh, it is a wonderful feeling. It is one of the main driving factors we see behind me not wanting to get married, like, ever, is because I don't want to have to share anything with somebody else, like, on that level. Yeah. I'm okay with sharing it with people, but on that level where, like, they're even dipping into your bank account, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta have a lot of trust for somebody on that. So,
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, see, my dad made that poor decision a second time. He got, like... So after my mom got divorced him, he was really, really sad. He was not doing great. And so he met, like, a couple years down the line, he met this lady who was, like, obviously a gold digger. And I told my dad, I'm like, don't rush it. 6 months later, they're married.
Oh, yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, and so... Yeah, it turns out she's doing drugs. So my dad's like, hey, go to rehab or we're getting a divorce. She doesn't go to rehab, so they get a divorce. And then, yeah, luckily that one was a lot less messy. I feel bad for my dad, though, but I tried to warn him. I was like, he should not rush into that.
Yeah, I feel like people, you don't know how they're going to, like, rebound. And not that saying that she was a rebound, but just coming off of something serious, like, you don't know how people are going to respond. So,
yeah.
You know, some people take the opportunity to find what was missing in their previous relationship. Like, I give you a perfect example. I know a woman who was married to her husband for like 30 years maybe, but he wasn't real affectionate. He just was a kind of a boring, not boring, but he was real manly, real serious all the time. They got a divorce. So her next husband was like super touchy-feely, but he's a complete deadbeat. And it's like, yeah, you have what you were missing, but you're also like way worse off.
Yeah.
In terms of like your lifestyle, like, so she just craved that, like, just being touched and like her hand being held, like, and that's cool, right? Like,
If that's what you're feeling.
yeah. I feel like there's, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the expert. I'm not Dr. Phil. So
Yeah, neither one of us are relationship experts, I think. I'm not married and probably never will be, so I can't really speak on that too well.
yeah, I understand. Let's take a second and just agree on something right quick.
All right.
Mint cookies are bullshit. I hate them so much.
You got a problem, man. Just try a frozen Thin Mint once and you'll understand.
I just don't like mint and dessert.
It's funny because like I associate mint with dessert so much in my mind.
Oh, you're one of those like North Korean survivors. Like, you can't get out of that mindset.
Well, it's just because I can't really think of mint in anything else that I've ever eaten besides like
Gum,
well,
toothpaste.
I don't. Do you eat toothpaste?
No, but that's the sensation. I enjoy the minty sensation while I'm brushing my teeth.
I mean, I do too.
I've never been brushing my teeth, and like, you know what would go insanely good with this crest right now? A big ass hunk of chocolate, right?
I mean, no, I wouldn't think that either. Well, I mean, I don't like overwhelming amounts of mint with my chocolate. Like a hint of mint is more than enough.
Okay, all right.
And see, this is why I'm trying to tell you, you gotta try frozen Thin Mint at least once, and then you'll understand.
I'll try it, but I'm not going to say that I'm going to love it as much as you love it.
I mean, it's not my favorite cookie.
What's your favorite cookie?
Oh, peanut butter cookies. 100%. But like, the more peanut buttery, the better.
I counter with Samoas. The coconut, the chocolate.
See, I'm not a huge coconut fan, so...
Oh, I love coconut.
See, I'm okay with it. I mean, it's gotta be... I can't never eat coconut by itself or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. I buy a coconut every now and then, especially during the summer, when I know they're not, like, disgusting. You gotta beat it open with a hammer. It's the only downside. So...
Play this game called Sea of Thieves, and coconuts is one of the healing items, and they just like crunch into it. Like,
oh my god!
They just eat it straight. It's like the most satisfying like crunch sound too. Oh. And like every time I see it, I'm like, how do you have teeth left?
Yeah. No, man, real coconut. You can. I mean, there's a lot of ways to like open it, but you get in there, you drink the milk,
coconut water.
That stuff's good, but then you eat like the flesh. Ooh, I think coconuts are mammals. All right, they have hair on the outside, and they have milk inside them.
But and they give birth. They gotta give birth to live young.
Have you ever seen a coconut give birth to a live young?
No.
Have you ever seen one not give birth to a like? Can you prove that this?
They definitively do not.
Are you sure?
No, that's why I was finishing your sentence there because it seemed like a weird sentence to be trying to make there.
No, I agree. This is nonsense, but I just want to argue this with people. Coconuts are mammals.
I mean, they got a couple characteristics, right? But like the big thing about mammals is they give birth to live young, except for platypuses because something went wrong.
Yeah,
there.
they lay eggs, right?
Yeah, they're weird.
Well, dolphins they give birth to live young. So do whales.
Yeah, because they're mammals.
That's right.
Yeah, but they don't have hair.
Damn it!
So that's a point against coconuts right there.
Oh, I shot my own argument to shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
See, you can't be arguing that coconuts are mammals and
yeah.
Point out dolphins.
What about pineapple?
Pineapple? Mm-hmm. I love pineapple. I think it's delicious.
Okay.
I learned a helpful tip from a pineapple connoisseur. Apparently, after you buy one, you gotta let it sit upside down for a couple days before cutting it open.
Really?
It helps distribute the sugars throughout the coconut. I mean the pineapple, so that it's instead of just being sweet on the bottom, it like gets throughout the whole thing.
Gotcha.
Cut it open and
that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I saw the trend where you like beat the shit out of the pineapple on the counter and then you roll it and you're supposed to just be able to pluck it out like little. That is horseshit. That doesn't work.
Yeah, they fake those things.
That's what I said. Yeah, they probably glued it back together.
Yeah, most of those things that you see are fake. It's
yeah,
it's real unfortunate because that'd be real convenient. Just beat the shit out of a pineapple and eat it all nice and easy.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it'd come out the other end being real fucking smushed.
Yeah, the one that we had was a little juicy when we cut into it.
Did you actually try to do that?
Yes. I was pissed. Moose is begging for some kettle cooked chips, and he's told no.
Mr. Moose getting fat.
He's just been spoiled. Like, he gives me those old faded dog eyes. He's like, I don't have much time left. Give me. And I'm like,
no, he's got at least 3 years. He's got at least 3 years.
Oh yeah, he's fine. But anyway.
I mean, understandable. You gotta spoil your dog. That's what they're for.
I know.
The unconditional love comes with the price that you gotta give it back.
I know. He's to the point now where he won't eat his dry food unless I like pretty it up with either coconut oil that's melted or like a raw egg.
Really?
Yeah. What an asshole.
I've seen dogs that won't eat their dry food unless their owner puts it in the microwave. Doesn't run the microwave, just puts it in there and then takes it back out.
Yeah, and then they think it's human food.
The dog's all for it at that point.
I know.
Fine. Dogs are weird.
They just, He's smart though. Like, I've tried to like put it on the stove and like pretend I'm cooking it, and I'll like take a salt shaker like with the lid closed and like pretend like I'm adding stuff to it. And I was up there for like 10 minutes one time doing like this elaborate facade, and then I put it back down. He's like, what the hell? What is this? And I'm like,
you didn't do anything.
All right, well, you're smarter than I thought you were. So, but yeah, he's afraid of guns. He does not like guns. You pull a gun out, like just to even like
show it off,
examine it, and he's gone. He leaves the room immediately. Which is weird because I'm like a pretty big, recreational
gun user.
Yeah,
it comes with the work.
He'd be alright.
I feel like you, I mean, like, even people who aren't really gun people before the military, I feel like they can at least enjoy it after the fact. Well, not everybody, but
I think, so going back to, like, the military ruins everything. Like, my, like, first couple experiences, like, at the range, I was like, man, it's gonna be fun. Like, I'm back in my environment. Like, yeah, this is the move. And then it's like, wow, this is miserable.
Yeah, because it's like, it's not like you're not there for fun. You're there just to do your job.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, they do ruin everything, but
yeah. So
when you're not doing it with the military,
oh, it's magnificent.
Yeah, exactly.
So I, if I ever had like an abhorrent amount of money, what I would do is I would give most of my money away, to be honest with you. But I would build myself a nice house, and in the back I would have a 500-yard shooting range.
Just on the back porch.
Now, what I think I would do, because I've like actually one time I was bored while I was on staff duty, and I like drew out my property the way I want it.
Ooh.
So I wanted it like off to the right a little bit, so I would have to take a golf cart from my house, and I would have the guns on the back, like that, and I would drive down to the, obviously over there would be like an awning over like the benches and stuff,
right,
and then there would be a golf cart lane down the center, and I would have cameras set up on each target so I could watch and see if I'm hitting it. And
this seems a little bit sketchy because you might ruin a camera. But I guess if you have
I had that kind of money,
if you had that kind of money,
I'd aim for the camera every time. Like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, see, I hit the target. You see it right there on that black display.
Yeah. As you can see here, this footage at 5 minutes and 33 seconds, it goes black. That's where I shot it. It's because I was aiming for it. But I think that'd be cool.
Oh yeah, I mean it's fun to like imagine what you can do with unlimited money.
Yeah.
Too bad you and I will never see that kind of cash in our lifetime.
I'm really hoping I got a really rich relative somewhere that just gonna eat it, and like they're like, oh, this.
You're my only living relative. Wait, isn't that the plot of some Adam Sandler movie?
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
What is it? Because I've seen it and I remember it very well. He's like some small town dude who works at a pizza place. And then he inherits all that money, and then somebody's trying to steal it from him. That's like the whole plot of the movie.
That sounds like an Adam Sandler film.
Oh, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because all the Adam Sandler films just like blend into one another after a while because like He was funny at once upon a time, and then he wasn't anymore.
Yeah. Do you know? You remember The Longest Yard was like a remake of a '70s movie with Burt Reynolds. Adam Sandler made like a remake of it.
No, I don't remember this.
Okay, so it's basically this famous professional football player goes to prison.
Okay.
And he joins like the prison football league.
Oh, okay.
So when I was a kid, when this movie first came out,
I've probably seen it and just don't remember.
Yeah, Adam Sandler in prison playing football.
Sounds familiar, but anyways.
This is it's really random, but when this movie came out, my granddad was insistent that I go see this with him because that was like one of his favorite movies, like back in the '70s. And he took me and we watched it in the theater. Like it was so cool. Me and him went and he bought us popcorn and Cokes and like the whole thing. And that's one of those like those times I appreciated like spending time with my granddad. And I hope one day I can do that with like my kids or my grandkids. Be like, hey, this was fucking cool back in my day. So let's do this right now.
Yeah. See, unfortunately, my grandfather, he's mostly into golf. And he only ever managed to get me to go once. So, but we would play mini golf together all the time. So that was the compromise there. I didn't have the attention span for actual golf. So. Yeah.
So same grandfather. He loves golf. I think you just hit an old white guy age where it's either golf or like smoking meats, and there's no like you have to pick your path.
You know, it's funny because my dad's getting up there, right? He's 50. I guess 50 isn't quite old, but it's like halfway there, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so it's funny because now he has a really nice grill.
Oh,
and he uses it all the time, summer, winter, rain or snow. Even sunny weather, that guy's out there.
I feel like that's my path because I like to eat too much.
Yeah.
Like, I got a brisket in there right now.
Exactly.
And
so, between golf and food, I'm a food guy.
Food, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's nice about... I want to get a smoker eventually. Smoked meats.
It's... You know, one of the best things about smoking vegetables is delicious. Like, smoked bell peppers are incredible.
I'll have to try it.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling especially...
adventurous,
vegetable-y one day.
I mean, here's the thing: like, you gotta eat them anyways. Why not make them taste good?
Yeah, that's true.
Just get a smoker. How much is a smoker, anyways?
Well, it's kind of one of those things you can spend as much money as you want to.
That's fair.
Like, I probably wouldn't get one from Walmart because I want one to last longer than 6 smokes. But
yeah.
But yeah, my dad has a smoker, and every time I go home, we smoke everything, and I love it.
There was one time where we went fishing, and there was like a salmon run near our house. It wasn't like actual salmon. It was like a different kind of salmon. I don't know. It was in southern Colorado, so
illegal immigrant salmon.
No, I don't think. Sure.
Your reaction was not an immediate no. So
I mean, like, it's kind of like the idea is a different ethnicity of salmon. How about that? But I remember, like, I don't know where my dad got this, like, teeny tiny little smoker. I think he borrowed it from somebody, but we smoked the salmon. But I hate seafood, so I didn't eat it.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
I love salmon.
Oh, I'm sure it was delicious. I just, for somebody who enjoys seafood, I just don't.
Yeah.
Did
you have a bad experience with seafood, or?
I don't know. I just, like, growing up, I just hated seafood. Like, it just tasted nasty to me. And, like, I haven't tried it in years. Maybe I'll like it now, but... Because, like, it's been so long since I've actually eaten any fish.
Yeah.
That I cannot definitively say.
What about, like, crab legs?
See, this, I've never tried.
Oh.
So there's got to be a time and a place where I go and actually, like, attempt the...
Yeah. Scallops are good.
Scallops are just, like, little clams, right?
Yeah. Just little wads of meat. They're good, though. So when I was in New Orleans, I tried a lot of things that I never thought I'd try, like snails. I'd had crawfish before, but I have, like, New Orleans crawfish. And then...
So New Orleans crawfish is the way to do it?
Yeah. But what I was going to say is oysters. Now, oysters, raw oysters, I've had them a couple times, not a big fan. But in New Orleans, they're called char grilled or char broiled. Depends on who's cooking them. But they cook them in the shell with butter and salt. And let me tell you,
I mean, that's all you need, right?
man.
Butter makes everything better. It's like cheese.
Oh yeah, yeah. Have you ever had pimento cheese?
No, actually, I don't know.
Let me make you some pimento cheese. All right, I have my own recipe. All right, so the basis for pimento cheese is shredded cheese, mayonnaise, and spices.
Well, what kind of shredded cheese? Is it just shredded cheese?
So I don't want to put my recipe out here to the public because mine will blow your pantaloons right off. All right, but I made some recently, and it was a fan favorite. Like everybody loved it.
You know, you're speaking of peanut cheese, sounds like something I've never heard of. You ever heard of funeral potatoes?
Yes.
See, that's like something where like in Mormon culture you say funeral potatoes and everybody instantly knows what you're talking about. Yeah. But like outside of that, almost nobody knows because nobody. But funeral potatoes is like the ultimate like cheesy, delicious thing with potatoes.
There's no way to mourn like it is with salty, cheesy potatoes.
Yeah. But like in Mormon culture, like everybody eats them, and like they're not just at funerals; they're at everything.
No, I know. It's just the name.
Yeah, they're just called funeral potatoes. But it's funny because growing up, they weren't funeral potatoes to us; they were just cheesy potatoes.
Oh, okay.
And everybody called them that.
Yeah.
Everybody outside of the Mormon church calls them funeral potatoes, and that's like what I get people to know them as. But like when I talk about it with my family or like other people,
cheesy potatoes.
Cheesy potatoes.
So transparently, I only know about funeral potatoes because you told me about them. But
you gotta make them for yourself some way. Like my mom would make them using like the pre-bought hash browns at the grocery store. Like you buy the shredded potatoes, and then like the rest was like the cheesiness.
That doesn't sound bad.
No, they're really good.
But the first time you told me about it, I had this like before you went in on the explanation, I just pictured like somebody. So I don't know Mormon culture, but I imagine somebody in the Mormon get up.
What is the Mormon get up in your mind? Actually, I need you to elaborate on this.
black pants, white shirt, Bible in your hand. But I pictured somebody standing at a funeral, and like people are like the priest is giving the eulogy, and he's going around with like a scoop, like God be with you, and like and like scooping potatoes into people's hands, and they're just like. And with you, and like they're just eating them like a horse.
That is an incredible image. Because, I was really curious about what you said about the Mormon getup. Because it is a shirt and tie.
Yeah. Oh, a tie. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, I forgot to mention tie. But no. Because Mormon funerals aren't like that. They're like, it's not a sad event. Like, there's obviously some mourning. But mostly it's just like, oh, okay, this happened. And, like, they're in a better place now. And everybody just accepts that's a Mormon funeral.
Yeah.
So... And, like, generally speaking, it's not, like, obviously it's not celebratory, but it's also not, like, super sad.
Yeah.
But there's nobody going around scooping potatoes
into people's cupped hand. God be with you.
Here's your potatoes.
So, yeah, I mean, so if you look at, like, the one thing, the absolute one thing that ties all of humanity together, it's dying. Like... We're born and we die. Like, you cannot escape those two
Those are the only two things every human does.
Yeah, like...
Well, except for maybe breathing, but, you
know.
A lack of breathing leads to dying, so...
So, yeah, I mean, you cannot breathe for a while. I saw this thing, it was like, your lifespan is only 2 minutes, but every breath you take resets the clock. I'm like, kind of. But, yeah.
Sure, people have gone longer without breathing than that, but...
Oh, yeah, but the average person, you take somebody who works like 28 days a month at Enterprise Rental Car, and you just choke them for 2 minutes, I bet they're done.
I mean, that's more like you crush their windpipe for sure.
This took a weird turn. But yeah.
28 days a month. Wow, they don't get weekends?
Not an Enterprise Rental Car.
God, man, I'm never working there.
But that's like the one common thing we have, right? So... different cultures like appreciation or a celebration or view of the afterlife, right? Has always kind of interested me, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm a Christian, obviously, like you and I have talked about that, but I would want my funeral to be kind of the same way. Like, I want to write like 10 minutes of just jokes for like somebody to read after I go.
I imagine it's not great to be the guy in the casket and have everybody else be like, ooh, there, and you're like. Like, I mean, you're dead, obviously, you're not going to care, but...
Well...
I feel like it'd be better to be appreciated.
Yeah. I want him to do an ESPN highlight reel of like my life. Just like a mini 5-minute documentary. And
that seems fun. Maybe you should do that yourself so they don't fuck it up.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, you can't do your own documentary. Like, I would be like,
he was the best person in the world.
He was the best lover this world has ever seen.
And seduces the background. I call bullshit.
Hope none of my exes go to my funeral. Or they might attest to that. I don't know. I doubt it.
I don't know.
Hey, 2 inches at 200 miles an hour still kill you.
I remember having this argument. I don't know, like, why the fuck. We were learning about, it was like my physics class in high school, and I got in an argument with my dad about like how physics works and like how hitting something with like a not moving bullet wouldn't do that much damage. And my dad was like, all right, so take a bullet that's hanging in midair, it's not moving, but it's just there, and shoot a deer at it at the speed of a bullet. What's going to happen to the deer? I'm like,
so you're moving the deer at the speed, so like 2,700 feet per second.
Yeah. And it hits the bullet, and my dad's like, "You're an idiot, son. The bullet's gonna go through the deer." And I'm like, "Oh, you got a point."
Or at that speed, would the deer go through the bullet?
Yeah. Well, I feel like with like mass that's small. Just
yeah, I know. I know. So yeah, I mean, like talking about velocity. In the firearm world, like velocity is way more deadly than the actual like diameter of the bullet itself.
Oh yeah.
Because when
how the equation works.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen like the slow motion like gel test they do, where like the bullet hits the block of the gel and it expands. Well, if you have a low velocity like that, that initial cavity doesn't open that much. So the bullet may be really big, but if it's not moving very fast, that cavity doesn't open up. But if you have a bullet going 2,200 feet per second, that cavity opens like your whole torso, and then it comes back together. That damage is, depending on the cartridge, is something you can't. There's nothing you can fix. Like you could have the top.
I mean, it just liquidates you.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No, because when I killed my elk when I was 10, killed this nice bull elk. We loaded my own. I loaded my own bullets. Well, with the help of my dad. I was 10, obviously. I'm not able to do it, but. We use these bullets that, because you're talking about the cavity, they would rip like open as soon as they hit whatever target.
The projectile itself?
Yeah.
Yeah, they like mushroom, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Just to make that much more cavity. And yeah, that's the bullet I killed my elk with at 10. I remember we were out there, and so my dad was hanging back, and he had traded some dental work with a guy to be a guide for this trip because he had put me in for this tag that was like a really good tag. No, it's really hard to get tagged. So he's like, all right, we're not going to fuck this up. We're going to get somebody who knows it.
I just imagine this guy like creeping through the bush with you with these pearly, perfect teeth, like just ding.
I mean, yeah. And so they didn't like pay each other for their services, but they each got the services that they wanted. So
right.
So my dad's hanging back. He's doing he's doing a satellite bull call, and so the guide's with me, and he's doing a cow call because what we heard like a pretty good sized bull, like bugling in the morning, and then like an even bigger one was obviously off somewhere else, and like so like we had assumed, and we ended up being right that this other bull had gotten its herd taken from it by this other one.
Yeah, right.
And so we were like trying to like trick it into thinking that this guy could come in and steal his cow from another bull.
Gotcha.
And so we succeeded because we were like next to this tree. They're doing the calls, and then all of a sudden the guy taps me on the shoulder and like points to the tree, and like you could see it. It was on the other side of this juniper tree.
Nice.
And it was angry. It was mad. And then it realizes what we are, and it's like trotting away. My guy's like, you gotta take that shot. And so it was quartering away, and I shot it, and then it does that thing that they all do, that it bucks a little bit, and then like it trotted around the tree. And this guy that we had, I don't remember his name. He was friends with my dad. They were like pretty good friends, but he's like 6'2" and like all muscle, and I was 10, and I'm a small dude anyways. I was a teeny tiny 10-year-old. Okay. So he picks me up in one hand, throws me over his shoulder, and picks up my gun in the other after I make the shot. and then like runs after the deer.
Jesus.
All like 45 pounds of me.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone. He's like, where the fuck did it go?
Did you track it? You had to.
Well, no. So he tried to like, because it like went around the street. He tried to run ahead of it
to cut it off.
Yeah, and it was gone. And we're like, what the? He's like, where the fuck is this deer? Or I mean elk. And so he went back to like go and track it. Follows the blood trail and went like 10 yards and fell behind the tree.
Oh, bummer.
I had hit a perfect shot.
Nice.
It so it like went through the lung and the heart and then out the windpipe because it was quartering away from me.
Right.
So 10-year-old me was a good shot, and like it carried through because like when I was 9, my dad took me turkey hunting.
Oh, okay.
And this was, and he called him this turkey, and it gets close enough that I can take a shot, but it's like between these two trees, and like it's over here, the trees are here, and like. My dad's like, yeah, I'll take that shot. And I was like, what are you talking about, Dad? I'm not going to hit it between these trees. And, like, even, like, my dad was like, I don't know what was going on that day, but he was like, his adrenaline was through the roof. And so I managed to hit a pretty
He's got a can of nitrous right there behind the tree. Take the shot, son. Take it.
And so after it moves around the tree, I shoot it. It's obviously about to die, but, like, it does its thing where it, like, starts in the other direction.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, fuck.
Yeah.
And he sees it because it's going for this cliff, and it's going to go over the cliff around like a hell of a time finding it if it goes over. And so he, like, jumps up from behind the slide where it's like, and takes this gun from me, and, like, he just, like, boom, boom, towards this turkey as it's running away, drops the gun.
And runs after it.
Runs after the turkey, and takes out his knife and slices its throat. Like he was going off that morning. He was like, he really wanted that turkey.
So what you're saying is he skipped breakfast, was incredibly hungry. It's like, I am putting this turkey in my mouth. Like
he was on it, and like I remember, and this was like actually right before Thanksgiving. So
well, yeah. Well, you can't not come back with turkey.
Yeah, exactly. And so my aunt and her family came down, and they were in the middle of their organic food phase.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, we can't eat this turkey.
That's organic, though.
Yeah, we were saying.
It's alive. It's now dead. I shot it. Like,
it only ate wild food. Like, it is obviously as organic as it gets. And it's like, it is an organic label. And
oh, my God.
And we're just like, I was like, even, like, as a 9-year-old, I knew she was on some bullshit.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, guess you don't get any turkey.
Now, you know what? Like, talking about organic stuff, there's so many accounts of people that work in like food factories that they produce the same product, but they put the organic label on half of it because, I mean, the product's organic to begin with, but people just want to see that label, and then they charge another $2 for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's like,
this is why I'm all for GMOs, genetically modified organisms. Because you can make a food more resistant to pests, so you can use less pesticides, which fuck up the environment. You can make them grow bigger, so you don't need as much fertilizer.
Yeah.
And this is all, and it's still an all-natural product.
Yeah. So I agree with you, with the caveat of we really need to, I don't want to say take it slow, but we need to definitely, like, not mass introduce GMO stuff that we're not super familiar with, only because
so you're saying it needs to be regulated?
Not even regulated, but studied to the point where we know for a fact what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like, just for the safety. I don't want to have a Jurassic Park situation here. Like,
just a tomato monster.
Your scientists were so preoccupied with they could do it, and they never asked if they should. And I never want to see, like,
tomato monster rolling down the street.
Well, like, even, yeah. Like, did you see the GMO mosquitoes they made? That are, like, supposed to die out in, like, 5 or 10 generations. Like, they're gonna mate and have offspring that can't reproduce. See, that's cool. But, do we know exactly what we did? And are those mosquitoes gonna grow to, like, 7 feet in size and be the dominant race on, the scary. Dominant species? Like,
that would be scary.
Look.
See, mosquitoes are my proof that God doesn't exist, because what kind of God makes a mosquito?
Well, bats eat mosquitoes.
I mean, I don't know what to say about that. Like, bats are pretty awesome, I guess, then.
I held a bat once. You were there for that.
Oh, yeah, in Korea, huh?
Yeah.
It was inside our building.
I know. If I didn't have that roommate, that handsome son of a bitch, he would have ratted me out. I had to let him go. I was going to keep the bat the whole time. I was going to bring it back here.
Not sure how it would make the trip, but...
Like, my pocket just starts, like, chirping.
They make the strangest noises.
Yeah. Did you see him? Bat Damon? Yeah. Cutest thing you ever saw.
Jones, right?
What?
Jones ratted you out.
Which Jones? Skinny Jones?
The one, your roommate.
Oh. Well, I was talking about Sergeant Henry. He was my roommate. So.
Oh, was he? I'm sorry.
No, he didn't rat me out. I just knew he was going to have a problem with it. You good? All right. Ladies and germs, that has been Zachary the Banks Mickelson.
Heck yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Absolutely.
Hey, cheers. Let's kill our beverages.